us. We just wanted to have this talking space because there's been a few projects, pieces of work with local groups, young people groups, that we've been hearing loads of amazing stuff, lots of amazing learning that we think would be really useful for others to hear. So we put the talking space together to sort of share some of that, and obviously opportunity to ask questions. So I'll go straight in and ask Holly from our gang if you're happy to come in and just talk a little bit about the work that you're doing, and tell me when you want me to share slides, if that's okay, and I'll do that for you.
Hi, so have you guys shared the video that you mentioned, or were you planning on doing that here or afterwards, or?
Yes, so we can do either. So we are going to share the video. So I was going to show it afterwards, but if you want to share it before, then we can do that as well.
Oh gosh, do you know what? I think it's probably better to do it first, if that's okay, and that gives you a really good idea of what we do and how we do it, if that's okay.
Yes, of course. Let me just, because I'm sorry, I'm just doing this and this, so just bear with me 1 second. Let me just, I don't know if you want, if I'm just going to put the slide up first, just so that people have got something to look at, and then I can switch to the video, if that's all right, because it'll take me a second.
Yes. So a quick introduction. So I'm Holly Sprakehill. Do you like my beautiful office? It's the Community Workers VIP Suite. It's my car. So I'm a children's occupational therapist, and I'm currently coming from my lunch break. So I work in the NHS, but my voluntary role is a project I've been wanting to set up for years, because I saw the gaps in my own family's care, because I'm autistic and ADHD, my kids are autistic and ADHD, and where we live in Glossop is basically like a services Bermuda Triangle, black hole type. We are just a forgotten place in Derbyshire. So for ages and ages I've been banging on about trying to set up a youth group or play opportunity for autistic young people and ADHD young people, and it wasn't until I met the amazing Helen Thornhill, who basically became the brain to make it happen. So I'm very much the sort of clinical child functional make it happen from an autism point of view, but my own disability element of it means that I just can't handle bid findings, even finding bids and funding applications and things like that. And for me to find somebody who could make that happen was really important. So I'm going to let you guys watch the video, because I think the video and the kids tell it better than I can. Just to let you know, the children who appear on this video basically didn't talk for the first few months that they came to this group, and they've really struggled at school, and they've finally found a place they can really be themselves. So it's such a powerful for us to see as facilitators of the group, but it's really powerful for their families too, because they've seen what being around other autistic people and being truly accepted for who they are has done.
Okay, thanks very much, Holly. I'll play it now, but if somebody shout up if I haven't got sound, because I feel like our sound issues might be contagious. So just bear with me a second. Can you hear it?
No.
No, we can't. Okay, just bear with me. I will try again. Oh, no, wrong one. Apologies. And better?
Since the pandemic, my autistic and ADHD family had been struggling. I was also working as a children's occupational therapist in Glossop, and I was seeing lots of other families who were having a tough time. I wanted to create a place for autistic and ADHD families to feel a sense of community, to be able to play and to be accepted, and to feel safe being our authentic selves. As the magic equation goes, neurodivergent person plus environment equals outcome. We needed to create a place in Glossop where we could thrive. I realised that I couldn't do it all on my own. I'm autistic and I'm ADHD, and I realised that I needed to find help with finding funding and doing all the admin side of things. And that's when fate intervened and I found Helen from Move More and the Bureau. We joined forces with some brilliant people. We found Dawn from the Glossop Connect group and lots of other brilliant people. We found a base at the vineyard, and since then some magical things have happened. But I think the best thing to do is to let some of our amazing children tell you more about us and the brilliant things that have happened because of our teamwork.
Hello.
Hi, Sky. Sky, what do you think of our gang?
Amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Hi. What do you think of our gang?
Amazing, good, and I'll never ever leave.
Awesome. Right, Sky, would you do us a tour of our gang?
Maybe.
Come on then, show us the way in.
And if Theo gets 200 likes, we'll do a part 2.
What happens in this room now? What happens in here, Sky?
You can go crazy.
You go crazy?
Yeah.
Do you want to show us what happens when you go crazy? Lorenzo, what are you doing? Tell me all about it, Lorenzo.
And
So what goes on in here, Sky?
silence.
Silence.
And you can also read your book.
You can also read your book.
You can just relax.
Oh, that sounds nice. Do any of the parents mind being on the video? Do you want to take a video and show? Providing a space for Glossop neurodivergent children and families is something I am really proud of. Our children and families often have a very stressful time coping with the outside world. Our gang is a place where we're all brought together by our differences. If you want to be hyper-focused on just one activity or bounce around the energy room, if you want to chatter or not say a word, if you want to project manage den building or quietly line up toys, it's all good. We try to meet everyone where they are at by adapting our rooms and our approach to meet a wide range of sensory needs. When our young people and families get together, our children and adults appreciate and celebrate the way neurodivergent folk play. We learn amazing new things from each other and we provide unshakable support when things are tough. It's not perfect, we still have much to learn, and as neurodivergent volunteers, we also need to take care not to burn out. Our gang is at the start of an amazing journey, and we think you should come along too. So yeah, that's our gang. I had to learn those video editing skills in a 24-hour period, so it's not exactly slick, so please forgive me. But yeah, the kids that did it with me were absolute superstars. So I reckon if the next video will get 200 likes according to Theo, but yeah, no pressure on me for making the next one. But yeah, it's very different from any other youth groups that are out there, because my kids couldn't access any youth groups that are out there. We tried and we tried and we tried, but even the ones that said they were accessible, because of course every youth group has a legal requirement to be accessible, but actually with the best will in the world they weren't. So using my skills as an occupational therapist, it was really important for me to make sure I created an environment that really truly was catered to the needs of autistic kids and ADHD kids, because those two conditions go hand in hand. And for it to be about supporting the families as well. So for those young people and their families to be able to come, and it not to be about them being different, about it being focused on their condition in a way that was negative or trying to change them, but for them to have joyful experiences that were just like any other family got to experience at a youth group or an after school activity, for them to be co-regulated emotionally and to be able to take home some good memories together and to basically play in a way that kids and families do play, but neurotypical people get to take advantage of all the time, but unfortunately neurodivergent people don't. So yeah, anybody want to ask me anything, or is there anything on the slide that I haven't covered?
Stuart, I saw Claudia had come in but has put a hand down. So Claudia, did you want to ask something, or shall I go to Stuart? Stuart, it's you, second choice.
Oh,
you can go to Stuart.
That's awful. Hi, Holly. I saw your
Hi.
little video clip last week at our Active Partners Trust board meeting and thought it was absolutely brilliant. I was just kind of thinking then how to replicate that setting that you've got elsewhere. So I just wondered if you could, I'm guessing you're going to say meeting the right people in terms of Helen in location, but are there 2 or 3 things that you could say are needed to try and do this in other places? What would be the key things that can make it successful?
So I think first of all, as an autistic person leading a group for autistic people, it's about having the right scaffolding for me to be able to facilitate that, and that's what Helen provides, because I'm a disabled person too, so it's not like I can plow everything into the as I mentioned, finding funding, sorting out all the admin side, and I tried to do that time and time again over the years, but I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the spoon theory of having energy to do things, but as somebody who works as well as having my own disabled children, I just haven't got the energy to do that. So to have somebody who can say, do you know what, I can help you make this happen, and that's okay, you don't have to feel bad or guilty about that, that's part of teamwork and how we can make it work for your kids in Glossop, for our kids, our community, was so incredibly empowering. And you know, I cannot thank Helen enough for that, because she unlocked the door to make it happen. And you know, she's often like blowing sunshine at me saying this is amazing, but it would not happen and it would not be sustainable without Helen's input. And the second would be the physical environment. You couldn't stick all those young people in one room because of their needs, and I think that comes from knowing a lot about neurodivergent young people and how their needs manifest at different times of the day. So you would need somebody who understands their needs. So for example, we run on a Friday night because that's the only time that I've got available. But I also know that after school on a Friday afternoon, the ADHD kids, their medication will have worn off. Everybody's knackered because it's the end of the week. Usually people are really dysregulated, so if you're going to have any meltdowns, that's going to be the time. However, it's also the time that you've got the most potential for people to feel a lot better about being at a group, because they don't feel as stressed because they've got school the next day. The families have got the opportunity to go, oh, do you know what, I can have a nice time with my kids here, or I can go and relax in that room and know that they're having a nice time doing an activity that they're not going to have a meltdown over, or if they do have a meltdown, I'm not going to feel ashamed about it. So that's the other thing, is knowing that the volunteers and the people that are in facilitating that environment really understand and accept neurodivergent people. And you would think that that happens all the time, but it really doesn't. A lot of people have an understanding of autism and neurodivergence that comes from, you know, what we all learned from autism awareness training 15 years ago, and it's not there anymore. You know, the knowledge and understanding of contemporary autism theory is much more about emotional regulation, not trying to fix people, just meeting them where they're at and being very gentle with that approach. Because if I gave all our young people set activities to do, it would end in dysregulation and meltdowns. But actually, we set up an environment where they can move throughout the whole building as their emotions and their need for those activities comes and goes. So if they want to do some Lego and really focus on it, that's great. If they want to line things up and they want to do that on their own without anybody touching their stuff, they can do that. But then if they need to go and bounce a load of energy off, they can go and do that as well. And nobody's going to mess with them or tell them they can't do it. You know, we do have strict rules about not hurting anyone else, but there's always an adult there to help them through that tough frustration time in a non-judgmental way. So it's about keeping them safe, but also not letting them get to the point where they can be upset or frustrated. So that means you have to understand autism and you have to understand neurodivergence. So it's not easily replicatable, Stuart, is my answer. But it is if you've got the will.
Right. That's really helpful. So what's helpful on that is there needs to be some work perhaps we can do around workforce about letting people so they understand their conditions and that space more. And the other thing is we need to find a way of cloning Helen and having a Helen in each of the 8 districts, I think, is the other thing. Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, that's all right. My pleasure.
Did you want to come in, Helen, about what Holly said, or is it just oh, I don't know if Edwina's got a different question.
I was just going to add to what Holly was saying, really, around the what's needed to actually replicate. I think the learning that I've taken from all the different youth clubs in all the different places is you can't replicate. Every space needs something different. Every community needs something different. So the neurodivergent youth club in Glossop is not necessarily going to look the same in another space. There are obviously there are key factors involved, like the community building that we've managed to find, which is key from the fact that we have got the different separate spaces so that everybody can move around, and there's not always them places. Without having the time as well, there's a lot of time went into this actually opening the club. So there was a lot of time of learning. I learned a huge amount from Holly before we even opened the doors on what was needed, what volunteers are needed, how the volunteers need to operate. You know, we even talked about things like lighting, temperature, textures of things. There were so many different learning streams that came before we even opened the doors. And I think that is the key with a neurodivergent group is not to just try and say this worked in Glossop, so let's replicate it in Buxton or wherever, because I think you need to go and learn from the people that are going to be actually using the group to and then develop it from there. Without Holly, I'll say the same thing. Without Holly, this group would not work either. You need to clone 2 people at least.
I think,
thanks, Helen. Mutual Appreciation Society.
It's one of those things that if you'd have to come and see it working, because I do use a huge amount of my clinical skills as an occupational therapist to adapt to the environment. And by adapt to the environment, I don't just mean the physical rooms. I mean your tone of voice, your approach, even down to the parents, because a lot of our families have extremely stressful situations. We've got young people who you would talk to on a one-to-one who are so incredibly bright and articulate, and then you might find out that this is a primary school child that's been expelled for their behaviour, and you think, how on earth has that happened? And it's literally that sort of complex, where these young people just have so many emotional dysregulation issues because of their issues out in the wide world, and then you get them in the right environment, suddenly they're thriving. So, you know, it's not just picking it up with a manual and moving it on. It's about really learning from each other, a little bit like a community of practice around understanding autistic people and being open to understanding how neurodivergent people communicate and play, and really honouring that play in a really positive way. But that's, you know, something that we'd be really open to other people learning from. Edwina, I'd really like you to do yours in the interpretive dance moves if you can't use your microphone, but you can use it now, can't you?
Well, I was just yeah, great. Yes, so that was part of it, just to test whether it was working. So yes, great. Yeah, I just wanted to actually make the comment that I'd seen your video and thought it was amazing. So yeah, it really sort of conveyed kind of yeah, what you're trying to do, and I loved it. So yeah, just passing on that feedback on the video.
Thank you.
But yeah, great that my mic's working now. So.
Well, I was just about to say, I will pass back on to you, Edwina, now that I will pass the mantle back on to you now your microphone's working. But thank you so much, Holly, for joining us, especially during your lunch break. It is appreciated.
But if anybody wants to come visit us or see what we do or find out a bit more about what we do, you know, obviously it's not unachievable to try and take things from what we do, because I'd love to see it move more around Derbyshire. I've just had somebody from Newcastle get in touch with us about trying to do something similar. So, you know, the word's getting out there, and our colleague says inclusion is an intentional act. So yeah, let's get intentional.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, and thank you, Helen, as well, for your contribution. So I think next up we've got Nick from Skate Nottingham. I think Nick's on the call, and he's going to talk to us about the EduSkate that he uses with Skate Nottingham in the city Nottingham. So over to you, Nick.
I think it's Chris, isn't it, who's joining us today?
Oh, sorry, Chris. So sorry, Chris.
Don't know any Nicks in skateboarding. There's lots of Chris's, quite a few Darrens, but I'm not aware of too many Nicks.
Over to you, Chris.
I'm going to drop our short EduSkate video into the chat and share my slides. It should work.
We're having a lot of technology issues, Chris, so if it doesn't, I have got a backup, so let me know.
Can you guys all see this?
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. So I'm Chris Lawton. I'm one of the co-founders of Skate Nottingham CIC, skate as in skateboarding. I'm also the community development officer for the national governing body for skateboarding. So part of my role is to try and share the learning that we've developed in Nottingham, our potential role as a trailblazer with other cities around the country, and some of the challenges with that. I'm going to talk about a couple of things, about a physical space and a youth development programme. So a physical space is known as Tramline Spot, which is a community developed space for skateboarding by the foot of the Nottingham Contemporary Art Gallery. And the programme is called EduSkate, which is a life skills programme for 7 to 15-year-olds, mainly from low income backgrounds, that's taught weekly for free skateboarding sessions. I'm going to talk a little bit about the future challenges and opportunities that we've got, and a final slide on the national picture. I'm going to try and do this strictly within 10 minutes if I can manage it. So skateboarding, I guess, is interesting, potentially including for some of the challenges that Holly and Helen were speaking about a moment ago. Neurodivergent people are quite highly represented in skateboarding. And this might be some of the reasons why. So it's not really a sport as such. It's a very spontaneous activity that has very malleable levels of organisation. So there's no club structure. It's something you can very much drop in and out of as you feel like it. It can be both competitive and non-competitive. It can be something you can do independently, on your own. And for me, I'm highly dyspraxic. as a young person, it was very useful for me to practice away independently on something that was quite hard to do and had a cost if I did it wrong, but I could do it all on my own at my own pace. And then I could then join a big cohort of people that cared for me. Has benefits for mental health and also employability and skills and careers, such as the creative industries and built environment. Skateboarders build stuff. They build their own environments for skateboarding. It's got a very low cost barrier to entry. It can be practiced almost anywhere. You just need a bit of tarmac. And it's on the up very significantly. So in summer 2021, it was the most Googled word on earth. And Sky Brown became both our youngest ever Summer Olympian and also BBC Young Sports Personality of the Year in 2021. We are increasingly competitive as a country at a world-class level, not just Sky Brown. I mentioned some of the other people at the end of this presentation, very young people and often girls. And Nottingham has a significant advantage in UK skateboarding. So two-time women's street champion 2022 and 2023 is local Miriam Nelson, who trains at Flow. And it's been a strong growth area internationally for women and girls participation, not just in skateboarding, but wider sports and physical activity. And then in countries like Afghanistan, Cambodia, South Africa, for girls' education. So Tramline Spot is a co-developed, community-funded space for skateboarding and other activities. It's a skateboard-friendly, not skate-only space, and that has its challenges. So it began development on invitation of Nottingham City Council in autumn 2019. It was formerly the dead space that's at the foot of the Contemporary, previously very important for skateboarding until the demolition of the Broadmarsh Banks in 2009, and then it became a kind of muggers alley for more than a decade. It was very importantly designed by young people. So there are multiple projects that ran from 2019 to summer 2022 that engaged more than 300 people in designing what then went in there. One of the people that facilitated that was a world leading designer who was responsible for the Nike European headquarters in Hilversum in the Netherlands, Rich Holland, who came to Nottingham a couple of times to help us design the space. So it's a world leading bit of a public realm. It was significantly funded by the community. We raised £17,500, including through 237 individual donors, plus a Sport England Active Together grant and a capital contribution from Skateboard GB. And after it opened on the 17th of December, the National Lottery enabled Skate Nottingham to deliver a 3-month programme of free activities, everything from street art to women and girls only sessions, queer sessions, rollerblade and roller skate takeovers from other skating NGOs across the UK, beginner sessions, and our EduSkate programme, alongside a creative club programme for young people to feel a level of ownership of the space. And since then, it's become a free amenity for physical exercise for hundreds of young people every week, which is not without challenge. So, for example, it's become a social space for Nottingham College students, including students who don't necessarily want to have anything to do with skateboarding, very much there to smoke and drink. And the challenges that has for the active users of the space, given Skate Nottingham are the only active programming organisation in that area. We're the only organisation that have been delivering free activities, programming, etc. And our funding ran out in April. There. So it gives you a taste of the space. We very much built it ourselves. There's me in a rainbow hat. We helped fit it out. We funded it. The young people designed it. It's unique. It's had visits from Cambridge City Council, from consultants working on behalf of Manchester City Council. It's been seen as a trailblazer. We've been asked to be a partner in 2 European City of Culture bids. We've yet to have a visit with councillors from Nottingham City Council. We've yet to really have any high-level discussion about how we can use the space effectively with partners that might include the college or the Contemporary. Yet to have any forward-looking discussions with the City Council and how we can maximise its benefits and potentially address some of the challenges. So all those are things that could do with happening over the next few months, particularly before the college reopens in the autumn term. So EduSkate. Eduskate is a programme that was developed by Concrete Jungle Foundation, who are an NGO that deliver from Jamaica, Morocco, Peru and Angola. They work mainly with marginalised young people. They're working with Jamaica during COVID at a skate park they co-built with local volunteers, and large numbers of young people in Jamaica weren't going to school because the Jamaican education system switched entirely online, and 50% of young people in Jamaica don't have access to a web-enabled device and or a stable internet connection. So Concrete Jungle Foundation found themselves delivering a lot of educational programs from their skate park, where they delivered Eduskate, which aims to teach essential life skills based on social determination theory through 11 linked skateboarding sessions. After developing this, which works with things like creativity, resilience, perseverance, they worked with 7 partners worldwide to roll it out through free pilots, free as in no cost, to mainly low-income young people. We're the only UK pilot in Nottingham. And from July, we've now worked with more than 300 young people, mainly in St Anne's and Snanton, but also at Tramline Spot. When we did the evaluation with Concrete Jungle Foundation in November, we had then worked with 106 participants, highly overrepresenting ethnically diverse people from Nottingham. 61% of our participants are Black, Asian or other ethnic diverse groups. 28% came from the 3 poorest IMD deciles in the city, and 40% of participants were girls. In a lot of our activities, more than 50% of participants were girls. We've just renewed our commitment to deliver Eduskate for another year. We'll now be one of 2 organisations in the UK delivering it, but it's currently unfunded. So we're delivering it voluntarily alongside our area-based grant delivery with the Renewal Trust. So there is questions about how sustainable Eduskate is going forward. But it's been incredible. It's enabled a level of consistency and structuring in skateboard sessions, which can be like human ping pong. That mean that the young people, whatever their needs, are getting tangible benefits, particularly for their wider social development, which can include their development in socializing skills. We have quite a large number of neurodivergent young people that are taking part in our weekly sessions. Future challenges. So skateboarding is very hard to fund. It's often seen as potentially a risk, despite it being so right now in UK government. A local government, it is a hard thing to fund. The fact that it moves across sport, creative practice, employability and youth work means we often fall between the gaps. And also there is the level of stigma that can happen in places like Tramline Spot, where you do get young people from a college smoking and drinking. There is then, even though they're not dressed like skateboarders or skateboarding themselves, there's then the association with skateboarding. That means it's often a kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back progress in terms of building up capacity. And obviously, because we're working across creative and cultural, sport and youth development, partner capacity across all those things have become very thin in Nottingham City. So getting that collaborative work has been really challenging. And we are missing a big opportunity. In our partner city of Tampere in Finland, a similar space has been developed as an urban lab that provides free activities, particularly educational, curriculum and enrichment and employability with their local FE college and their university. Also engages non-students in both sustainable development activity and more mainstream learning and development through significant input from different partner organisations. They've got a large area of undeveloped land that they built as a meanwhile space. We've got the potential with the location of Tramline Spot to make it a space for learning and a space for physical activity, if we can just get that partner engagement and enthusiasm and energy for it. It is a unique space. There's nowhere else like it in England. Nottingham has trailblazed in order to create it. If we could just sort of celebrate it, it would be awesome. Nottingham is a UK leader in this space, so we've been identified as the benchmark by a major project happening in Manchester at the moment. Manchester are looking at spending £20 million on action sports. They had a fairly expensive consultant that came to visit us and saw how we did it in Nottingham. And we've also had other elected members and officers coming to have a look at our practice from both of the UK and European cities. Nottingham's offer is really, we've got a combination of non-profit excellence alongside free public facilities. We've got between 32 and 34 skate parks in the Nottingham area. There's nowhere else in the UK that's got that concentration of facilities. And we'll have 2 new skate parks this year. One that's going to be developed very soon in Nottingham City, and one that's going to be developed in Southwell in early 2024, which gives us the opportunity to start developing construction apprenticeships. Again, if we can build up resources and we can build up the partner engagement. Quickly ended on the national picture. So I also work for National Governing Body. We're a very small NGB, but we're fast growing and currently multi-award winning. Our remit covers everything from getting world-class skateboarders around the world to national coach development and learning offer facilities specifically for skateboarding rather than all skate parks, otherwise my job would be impossible, and the grassroots side of things, community development, widening participation, safeguarding. GB is the only skateboarding NGB worldwide that does all that grassroots work, so sort of collectively we should be super proud of it. And our recent developments is in housing an activator level coaching award, which also looks at how skateboarders can become activators for wider physical activity. Then we've just rolled out an advanced coaching award. Part of that development has been in Nottingham. We've also rolled out a progression award, a kind of a learn to swim for skateboarding. Again, that was first trialed and piloted in Nottingham. The competitive achievements, Sky Brown not only won a bronze in Tokyo, but she also won the World Championships at the start of this year in Sharjah, and then the Olympic qualifier in Argentina in May. Sky Brown doesn't live in the UK, but Lola Tamblyn, Lily Strachan and George O'Neill all do. They're all very young. They're all younger than 16. And they've all qualified in Olympic qualifying activities. And then in Nottingham, we have the 2-time national champion, Miriam Nelson. She's only 14. She's a Nottingham resident. She trains at Flow. Would have been lovely to have seen a bit of local celebration when she was the most watched athlete in BBC Sports a few weekends ago, when she won her championship in London. And then we've just concluded a partnership with Tanzania as the first UK sport international partnering with Tanzanian skateboarding. There'll be a number of other sports that work with East African nations, but that skateboarding has been a trailblazer on that. And of the delegation of 4 people that went to Tanzania last week, myself included, 2 of us were from Nottingham. So the idea that Nottingham is a leading centre for skateboarding excellence in the UK, and it's something we could be doing a lot more to kind of solidify, energize and celebrate. And that is me. I put into the chat our little video, which is all about Eduskate, that gives you a sort of flavour of the stuff that happens in an Eduskate session. You'll see both the youth development and skateboarding with young people, and then the creative sessions. They sit down, they work with artists to create bits of artwork that have links to the skateboarding activities that they've just been doing.
Thank you, Chris. That just sounds amazing. I've got sort of a question to start off with. Something that really stood out to me is the number of girls that you engage, and is that unusual? And if that is unusual, what do you think is the driver for that?
It was unusual when we started in 2017. So Skate Nottingham was the first UK provider that started providing girls-only sessions. Girls-only sessions are really important, particularly for older women who might have experienced mean men in skate parks, which remains an issue. Giggling teenagers, all that sort of stuff, and harassment and more serious stuff. So creating women-only spaces was something, and the see it to be it side of things, women-only female coaches, female-led sessions. That has now become a nationwide phenomenon. So it is less unique in Nottingham now, the idea of women skateboarding, you'd have seen the number of those athletes that are world famous and are competing in a world stage are young girls. Those in Tokyo that really blew minds were teenage girls, which is awesome. So it was exceptional and unique. It's now become something that's very much part of British skateboarding.
Fantastic. Yeah, really, really good to hear that. Wendy, you've got a question?
Yeah, thanks, Edwina. Hi, Chris. I've seen the space near the college in Nottingham, and I've seen a few skateboards around. And I was wondering about it, so that's really good to hear. You know, officially what it's all about. So it's great. But my questions, obviously, do a lot of work in Nottingham. I work with quite a lot of schools across the city, and I was wondering, do you ever do any work in schools? Are there any links? Obviously, there's you mentioned a HAF project, but you know, is any skateboarding delivery happening in any schools, or is it kind of in spaces like the place down near the college?
We're like vampires, we need to be invited.
Okay.
So Jo Wardle, who's one of our coaches, runs a project called Great Skate Nottingham. She's both female and identifies as queer, and delivers our Skate High program, which is for women, girls, marginalised genders and LGBTQ people. Jo has developed her own program called Great Skate, and she's a former primary school teacher. So over the last year, she's been delivering at scale in particularly primary schools. Our wider learning offer, which includes the creative and cultural and the built environment, which might be particularly engaging for 14 to 19-year-olds, is something that we have not yet had doors opened, either in terms of conversations about it or kind of discussions that would result in us delivering in schools. That's both at a national level and a local level. So I was in Tampere in Finland last year, where there is a high school program that includes both the skateboarding as a PE activity, but also the wider pastoral stuff, event management, tourism, film studies, all these things that you can shackle onto skateboarding in quite a unique way. The Finns are leading that, and we're struggling to join the dots up in the UK.
Okay, thank you. That's good to hear about Jo's program, and I'll have a look into that and look at your video. But thanks, Chris. That's really good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Just yeah, sounds like brilliant work, and shame about the sustainability side of it. But yeah, thank you very much. Next up, we've got Molly from She Will, who works with young women and girls in Erewash. Hi, Molly. Can you tell us about the work you've been doing?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. So She Will is sorry, can I start by saying that the skateboarding, I came halfway through it, but it sounded amazing, and I would love to collaborate with you guys. So it would be great for us to have a chat afterwards, because we would love our young women to take part in some skateboarding. So that's the first thing, sorry. So yeah, She Will is a community organisation, and we run sessions and programmes across Erewash. So that's kind of the bit in between Nottingham and Derby at the minute. And we support young women with kind of confidence boosting activities, empower them to have their own voice, make their own change within their community, and for that change to be sustainable change. We do that in a lot of ways. So we do that through sports. So we will offer certain sports sessions. So some of our things that we're really proud of is we worked with a charity last year to provide 15 girls the opportunity to learn how to ride a bike and then ride them bikes on the road. We provided them with bikes and equipment, and they've kept that for life. And then we will run sessions throughout the year to re-engage them with the bikes and learning to ride, and we'll run cycling clubs where they'll come along and they'll ride their bikes. But we also do other sessions. So we've done out of bound sessions, we've done a whole 6-week program of pole fitness, we've done one-off events, aqua parks and swimming, but we also do other things. So it isn't just sports. We like to kind of intertwine it with craft sessions, art sessions, we've done music sessions, spoken word sessions. So the way that She Will works is that we go into an area within Erewash and we do a 6 to 8 week programme with young women. we look at the issues that they're having within that area, and we try and do a few sessions that will plug the gaps. So the fact maybe that they don't have access to sports places, so we'll be able to connect them with sports activators within their local community. Hopefully what happens then after the 6 weeks is over is that they have 6 different people that they can go to who are women within their community, that they can use their facilities or join groups that them other women also put on. So for example, like the pole fitness, 3 of our young people from the sessions that we ran with the pole fitness have gone on to have their own private sessions with them, with that leader. So that's kind of how it works. We have bigger sessions over the summer holidays, so we'll be taking them to Matlock. We do lots of kind of one-off sessions. We took them to Wembley to watch the Women's FA Cup final, but it's all about building aspirations for our young people, being able to see what's out there, to try loads and loads of different things and see what they enjoy, and then giving them the confidence to be able to go and do them things without She Will as a group. As a group, we really try and get rid of any barrier that we can see our young people are facing. So all of our sessions are free. All of our resources are free. We want to give young people things they can take away and can use within their daily lives when She Will isn't there. We support young people with getting equipment and so if we did a swimming session, we'd offer to get them swimming costumes and things. And with that, especially with young women, we know that young women are least likely to join sports groups and to take part in physical activity. So we try and talk about that with our young women and get rid of them barriers by just being positive role models. All of our volunteers are female or identify as female. And so that's what She Will is. We're a very small organisation. We've only been running since 2020, and obviously a lot of that time was COVID. So we're just coming out of that, and the last year really we've grown tremendously. So at probably the end of last year, so the end of 22, had worked with about 37 people. We're now about 65, and hope by the end of the year we'll have reached what we're calling Project 100, which is 100 young women across Erewash, and we're really hoping to engage with young people in Derby and Nottinghamshire now. But yeah, I think that's kind of the general gist of what She Will is.
Thank you, Molly. How do you connect with? How do you sort of reach out to the young women that come along? Do you use social media, and if so, what sort of platforms do you use?
Yeah, so social media has been really important in our movement forward. We engage with the young people through Instagram, so we have a big Instagram presence, and we've recently discovered, well, we haven't, but we've recently reached out to TikTok and started making our own TikTok videos, which the girls seem to love. But we also do organisation to organisational stuff through email and through going and being within meetings. But really for the young people, social media is where them young people are engaging, and that's where most of our young people come through. And it's quite interesting to see how well they have engaged with that and how they will go off their own back and looking out for opportunities. So yeah, for us, social media has been the main place where our young people have come.
And do you find, because you mentioned about sort of equipment and things, do any of the girls face any difficulties getting the appropriate kit and equipment? And yeah, if so, how's that been addressed?
Yeah, massively. And I think it's a twofold thing. It's within our planning and our funding. Within all of our funding bids, that we would make sure that we had a pot of money that could be used for young people that approach us and say, well, I can't come to the session because I haven't got a swimming costume, or I can't come to the session because I haven't got a bike, and things like that. But it's also the fact that we have a culture of being able to share things within the organisation. We feel like our young people are feel comfortable coming to us and saying, well, I'm worrying about this and worrying about this, can you support us with that? And it will make it very clear that we have reserves and funding. We want to eliminate every single barrier. We never want the young people to think, I can't do that because. But if it's a barrier that's internal to them, we can support them with building their confidence. But if it's external, that absolutely shouldn't be happening. All young women should be able to take part in things, whatever barriers or whoever they are. So that's the foundation of our organisation, really.
Okay, thank you, Molly. Has anybody else got any questions for Molly? Katie.
I was just going to ask about, you talked about a range of activities, Molly, and you know, was it you put activities on and they say what they like? Did you have kind of work with them to decide which activities they wanted to do? How did that kind of work?
Okay, so that's a really interesting question because it's something that we've evolved. So at the beginning of the sessions, probably 2 or 3 years ago, we would just say, who have we got in our networks? Let's put that session on. And then there would be sessions that the girls came to that we thought that they would really love, but actually they weren't as interested in that. So we've used a lot of young people voice, and we've also tried to make sure that the sessions vary massively, especially with our sports sessions. We don't want to do a football session every single week. We want the girls to be able to do loads of different sessions and then have the confidence to be able to go to them sessions on their own. So we've kind of gone out and looked for the biggest variety of sessions that we could find, from pole dancing to swimming to football, and then we've also tried to use voice to support young people to go to them on their own. So one of the things that we did, the pole dancing session, it was really important for us that the girls knew that at the end of it, there was that opportunity to go away and do pole dancing on their own, and to be able pole fitness on their own, and dancing and fitness on their own. So yeah, we use young people voice, and we want to give them a breadth, because sometimes they don't know what they want, and they don't know everything, so we want to give them as much as we can.
Any other questions for Molly? Okay, thank you. That was great, Molly. I think everyone agreed that we've heard some really interesting insight from the work from these 3 organisations. So a big thank you to Molly, Holly, Chris and Helen as well, for sharing your experiences with us today. There will be a recording of this session, which will be uploaded to the Making Our Move website and shared. Katie, have you got a poll or anything that you're wanting to do?
I do. It's not pole fitness. It's just a poll. Yes, thank you very much, and apologies to everybody for the start, and I will edit that out so it looks very seamless. And thank you very much, Molly, for joining us. I know you're also in a break. Obviously, this is a great time for lunch breaks, so everyone can join us. But I will put a poll on. So before you guys jump off, if you don't mind just answering the poll question, and then off you go. But thank you very much for joining us.